Welcome. It gives me great pleasure today to introduce you to Mr. Jyotirmoyi Chatterji. I had the pleasure of meeting JC, as he's affectionately known in India, when I took a group of MBA students to India 2 years ago. The CEO of First Strand India introduced me to JC, and it was an unbelievable experience for the MBA students. JC co-founded and designed a project called Project Chirag, which basically lights up communities in India. And so I thought it important, given that JC is here on campus with us, to spend some time to talk to him. JC, can you talk us through some of the dynamics of the youth sector in India, and also specifically around Project Chirag?
Today, India has a population of 1.2 billion, and more than 50% of India's youth is below the age of 25. And if at all we're looking at India becoming a developed nation and a growing economy, it's very important that the youth contribute in a large way to the larger growth story. And that's why, as a youngster, I realized that even I need to contribute back to my country. And in my own small way, I started an initiative called as Project Chirag. Today, almost 400 million people, or more than 72,000 villages in India, have absolutely no access to electricity. And that's shocking because, yes, today India is a technology hub. India has a lot of infrastructure developments that are happening. But yes, so many of my fellow Indians do not have access to electricity. So me and a group of my friends said, why not do something about this problem? And so what we started was an initiative called as Project Chirag, in which we targeted villages which had absolutely no access to electricity. And we provided solar home lighting solutions to these villages. The different and unique aspect of this initiative was that these solar lights are actually assembled by differently abled people. So we got training done for deaf and mute people, paraplegic people, and we started assembling these solar devices at the village level. That created employment for these people who otherwise had no scope of employment. And on the other end, what we did was we mobilized the youth of India. So what we did was we mobilized students between 12 and 20 years of age to actually be sensitized to the fact that there's a whole world beyond the cities, beyond the four walls of our classrooms, and that the youth need to contribute. So we mobilized them, sensitized them. We actually got them to raise funds for Project Chirag. And today, in just a matter of 2.5 years, this initiative run by the youth has lit up 120 villages across India and has impacted more than 25,000 rural Indians. And this clearly shows that when we started off, a lot of people doubted that, okay, fine, you all are youngsters, you all are students, this is the job of the government. But we said no, it cannot be the sole responsibility of the government. It is the responsibility of the youth and the civic society as well to bring about the growth story. And that's where we started off, and our belief is that it's not about talking, it's about doing. It's not about problems, it's about solving them. And as the youth, we must take that first step forward, not caring about how big the impact might be. But when many such youngsters get together and try and make a difference, the impact is profound.
But essentially, I saw two things when I engaged with Project Chirag. The one was the ability to take something small and make it a national movement across India. We've now got colleges from across various parts of India who've come on board and said, we want to be part of Project Chirag. We see the benefit. Can you talk a little bit through that? And then secondly, it's very different when we come from a vantage point of a community that's developed. So when we come from a Mumbai or Delhi or Johannesburg or Cape Town, because lights and electricity are second nature to us. We switch on a switch and it immediately comes on. Can you talk us through what the impact of lighting up a village has been and what the implication of that has been?
Firstly, as the youth, what we realized was that we started this initiative as an initiative of students of HR college in Mumbai. But then after having done a few villages, we realized that if we have to light up the whole of India, it was very essential to mobilize many such groups like HR college to scale up. And that's why what we went out, we said that it's no longer a project. If a model is working, let's share. Because sharing is caring, and today we all must learn to share. So we shared our model with various schools and universities, not only in India. Today Project Chirag has chapters in UK, US, Singapore. And what we say is that today it's not just the youth of India, but as the global youth, we're going to share our best practices and make the world a better place to live in. So that's the impact, and today we've worked with more than 12,000 students across the globe who are actually lighting up lives. As far as the impact of solar lighting, a lot of us from the cities would not probably be able to understand because we take so much for granted. But in these villages, for example, stories which these villagers share, earlier if at all 10 students appeared for an exam, 9 of them would fail the exam. Right. Not because they didn't have the desire to study, but because there was no light post 6 p.m. But now when we went after a year, 8 out of these 10 students are actually passing their exams. And education, we know how important that's a foundation, as a foundation block, will change this country. So yes, the solar lighting is changing the way education is being done in these villages. More than that, today people have access to going outside their houses as well. And moreover, it's not just about giving them that light. We're saying that this light is just a spark which will put into motion a complete socio-economic transformation in these communities.
Right. And have you received any support from government and from corporates and business?
Initially, no. When we started off, there was a lot of criticism that, okay, this is the job of the government. But we said, okay, let's prove ourselves. So after having done a couple of villages, we went to corporates. And today, after having done 100 villages, yes, we are receiving support actively from the corporate industry, and a lot of universities are also supporting. Government, we've just started the process of talking with the government as to how to seek government support, because we realize if at all we have to scale it up, we need to get the government involved as well.
JC, you spent some time in South Africa now, and you've seen the similarity in terms of the challenges to young people, the challenges to education in South Africa and India. How do you, given the experience that you've had in the sector, how do you see some of the learnings that we've had in India and also cross-cultural learnings, both ways, that we can actually bring the two countries closer together?
I think it doesn't matter whether I'm a youngster of Africa or India or China. At the end of the day, we are all youngsters. And today what we need, I've interacted with a lot of youngsters in South Africa who are facing similar challenges. And what we need to do is we need to collaborate. And in India, I think so what we're seeing more is the entrepreneurial spirit within the youth of India, which is actually helping solve some of these social challenges. So I think so there's a lot of scope and potential wherein the youngsters from both our countries actually can collaborate and solve these problems together. And I think so that it's not far off. It just they need an opportunity. They have the potential and the passion to make a difference in South Africa as well.
And the last question from my side, I mean, I often say this, is that you studied at one of the leading colleges in India, and you've now graduated about a year and a half ago, from my understanding, and now you've decided to really contribute to the socio-economic development in India through Project Chirag and so many other activities that you've done. How are you finding that?
I think so today we hear about a lot of problems, but then sometimes we say, can I do something about it? I said, okay, fine. Generally they say learning, earning, and then returning. Learning in your college, earning when you take a job, and then after you're 40, 50 plus, you return. I said you learn, you return, and then you can always earn and return more. So that's my thing. And I said if it's taken one Mahatma Gandhi to advocate ahimsa and one Mother Teresa to make the world cry, I think so one me is enough to begin with. And if at all I'm doing a good job and I can inspire even 5 people or 5 youngsters around me, I think so many more will join, and together we can make this world a better place.
Great. Thank you, JC. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.